Evening.
Good evening. Here's my battery again.
You need another one?
Well, you know that.
You want this one?
Good evening. Oh, much better. Good evening and welcome to the March, I almost said November, I don't know why. The March 13th, 2018 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the Village of Austining. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling the March 2018 Village of Austining Zoning Board of Appeals public hearing to order. I ask that you turn off your cell phones. For those in the audience, please do not engage in activities that might distract from the board or the applicants or their respective representatives. Do not engage in loud or extended conversations during the proceedings. Any conversations by audience members should be conducted outside of the hearing room. At the end of the applicant's presentation, the public will be given an opportunity to speak on relevant issues involving the application. And that is it. We'll go to ZBA 2116. Oh, roll call, right.
Okay. George Bailey,
Here.
Greg Meyer,
Here.
Marcel Forrestal is not here tonight, and we have a new member who is Bob Fritchie, who is not here yet, hopefully, and Sue Johnley.
Here.
And from staff, we have Stuart Kahan, Corporation Counsel, Joe Agostinelli, the Building Inspector, and myself, Lynn Brooks Hoffman.
Your microphone on?
No, it's she took mine.
Yeah, I have that
Yeah.
one.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody have batteries? Okay. So we'll do ZBA 2116 when we'll hand you the phone, the microphone if you need to speak about any issues. Croton Avenue.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson and members of the board. My name is Joseph Stargiato, and I'm the attorney for the applicant, the Baker Brothers, Ed and Willie Baker, on this property. This is our third time before you, so I've presented a couple of times, but I can give you a quick overview of our application so we can catch back up, and then we'll be able to answer any questions that you
I
have.
believe everybody that is here tonight,
We're up to-
we're up to speed on it, but we do have several questions for you.
Very good, then we have those 4 area variances that we're asking for. So if I don't have to go through them each, that's fine. We're ready to answer any questions you may have concerning it. And I know there were some additional submissions, information submitted to Ms. Brooks Avenue. I hope you got them. One is this comparison around the surrounding neighborhood.
Is that the email that you sent
This,
just the other day for the planning board?
this.
We do not have that.
You do not have that, okay. In any event, we're ready to answer any questions you may have, and I'm here with Jim.
Okay, at the end of last meeting, we asked you to send out notifications. We asked between you and the village to send out notifications to the surrounding residents since it's been over 6 months since you last appeared before the zoning board. You indicated that it would be done. The village indicated that they've changed their policy, that the applicant does it now. Was anything done with that at all?
When we were here at the end of this meeting, I was told by, I believe, Ms. Brooks Avenue, as we were standing here, that the village's notification was sufficient, and I asked the question, is there anything else that anybody wants me to do in order to put out further notification? And the answer was no.
I was the one that answered you, sir.
And the answer was
Okay.
no. So I
Okay.
didn't do anything because I was asked not to do
Okay,
anything.
so what we have to do is, we have to notify the neighbors, as far as I'm concerned, okay?
Madam Chairperson, I have to say that my clients object to that because we were here last month and we were ready to do that. I asked her, anything else we need to do? And we were told, no, that doesn't need to happen.
I understand that, I understand that. That doesn't change, that doesn't change the fact that the neighbors who showed interest in it when you first came before the zoning board should not be notified again that this is starting. I get the whole part of it's on the agenda.
The first time we were here, I was here. I was here with my clients on the first, I don't remember what month it was,
Mhm.
6, 8 months ago, and there was nobody here in opposition that day. There was nobody here in opposition.
Then you weren't here the first time.
I was here the first time,
Okay.
ma'am. I'm sorry, I
There's
was.
several other questions that I have, but
Sure.
that is gonna have to be done.
So if you don't mind me asking Ms. Brooks Abney, what are the requirements?
Well, you're here to speak to the board.
Well, no,
So I
no,
understand-
you just presented an administrative issue to me, and
Excuse me,
I
sir.
answered the question that I was told not to do anything, so I
Okay.
didn't.
Okay, so I believe it was after, it might have been after you left that, did you say then that you changed your policy as of January? I'll admit that I was the one that said, I thought that the village still sent out the notifications.
We did change our policy.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
I wanna make sure you get heard or speak loud.
I see what I'm doing to you.
Yes.
The village did change their policy in January. The applicant notices the neighbors, not the village.
Mhm.
But we have carried it on the agenda for all the past meetings, and
I know, but we requested that they be notified. Okay, I know you carried it on an agenda. This is not my only question, by the way, so, okay, all right.
So, well, look, a phone call, an email, something from the village saying, hey, Mr. Stargiotti, you need to notify the neighbors, I would have done
I
it.
totally agree with you, sir.
And so here we are yet another month later that we are at a position.
As I told you before, there's more questions than that one.
I'd love to answer them.
Okay. I did some research on this since we only had, really, when you came last month, you had only gotten the approval the week before from the planning board when they did the neg deck on the secret.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to be able to review the secret ourselves and put it as part of a resolution and agree that we agree with the secret. So we need a copy of those findings too from the village.
I'm gonna disagree with that, ma'am, in the sense that, I'll tell you why. You asked me a question, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you why.
sure.
Because when we submitted our environmental assessment form and the planning board declared themselves the lead agency,
Mhm.
all of the involved agencies, including the zoning board of appeals, were notified and asked for their comment at that time.
Mhm.
None, or maybe there were, I don't know if
Yeah,
the zoning-
right.
zoning board made any comment, but one way or another, the planning board has now issued a negative declaration. You don't have to agree with that, you can agree with it or disagree with it,
Okay.
but it's not relevant to the question of whether there has been a negative declaration. There has by the lead agency.
I'm not questioning their negative declaration, I'm questioning, I would like to see some of the stuff, we had questions last time you were here, we had questions on the traffic survey, we had questions on different areas. Just because you say that the consultant said it was okay, that doesn't make it more information for us to make our decisions on the variances. That's where I'm coming from. I'm not here to
I'm
change
gonna
the neg,
For the record, I'm gonna disagree. The
That's
environmental
fine, sir.
concerns are not your concerns. They were the planning board's concerns as the lead agency, and they asked the involved agencies to comment. And whether you did or you didn't, I do not know, but one way or another, they've made a negative declaration that there are no significant environmental impacts from this, if this project is built, by this approval, there will be no negative, significant negative environmental impacts. It's a decided issue.
so my next question to you is, one of your points on here is that they should get a return on their investment.
Correct.
Okay, they've owned the property since, as you corrected us the last time, 1986,
Yes.
at which time they paid $13,000 for the property, correct?
That may be true. I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir, then I apologize and I take that back, okay? However, what is your reasoning that there couldn't be a smaller building in there?
Because a smaller building would not be, A, cost-effective. It costs money to build. The foundation costs the same amount of money whether it's 3 stories or 4 stories or 5 stories. If it's narrower, it's less marketable. If it's shallower, it's less marketable. So to build something that is reasonably marketable, whether by rentals or by sales, you have to build something of an appropriate size. We've scaled this building down to fit this lot based on what a building could be as of right if the lot were a conforming lot, in order to build something to the appropriate scale. And certainly, this building, I think, meets that criteria. So I'm not really sure what your question, if you think they should build a smaller building, it still doesn't change the fact that they need an overall area size of the lot variance. They need an overall lot width variance. You can't build anything without those two variances, not a doghouse in the middle of the lot. And as far as the side yard setbacks, as I think I put into my letter, if we narrowed this building to be narrow enough to not require side yard setback variances, then the building would be inappropriately small. You couldn't use it. It would be
There's a major
non-functional.
difference, there's a major difference between having a smaller building and trying to jam something into every square inch that you can in there. I'm not saying that we're not saying that you can't ask for variances. It's more a question of why does it have to be this, so extreme of variances.
I'll explain.
Mhm.
Obviously with regard to the total area and the width, it's just without question, without a variance, we can't build anything. My clients can't build anything. The side yard setbacks, as I was saying, if we built one that conformed to the required side yard setbacks, it would be a non-functional building. It would be too narrow. It would be something like 12 feet wide. It'd be ridiculously narrow. And a similar point with regard to the depth. If they built one that was 40 feet, if they built one 40 feet front yard setback, the building would be a doghouse. It would be a shed.
Okay, so again, I'll repeat what I just said before. No one said you couldn't come here for variances. Do they have to be so extreme?
Well, I think I'll have to let my architect and perhaps my client answer that question. I think they need to be what they are as we've applied. I think anything smaller than that would make the building less or non-functional. So let them answer the question.
Okay.
So, 1 second.
Of the 4 variances that we're requesting, 2 of them are inherent of the lot, which is the lot width and the lot size. The other 2, which is one side yard and a front yard, those we arrived to them from working with the planning board and following the ASNIN architectural guidelines and what is intended to do in the neighborhood to move the building forward and to align with the rest of the properties along Crown Avenue to maintain the same facade.
The same facade as what, sir?
The same line along Crown Avenue to bring,
Of where on Croton Avenue will this building look anything like another building? Which building?
all along Crown Avenue across the street, there is a sidewalk and there is a sense of neighborhood of.
But you're not planning on putting businesses on the first floor?
No, because we're not allowed, yes.
Okay, so you're not planning on doing that. So which building is it that it compares to on Croton Avenue?
It's
Just
not-
because you're going to have it pushed more towards the sidewalk?
is to maintain the sense of entrance and sidewalk, and if we go back, I don't have it in here, and if we go back to the guidelines that
Mhm.
were published in 2011 by the Village of Austin, the architectural guidelines,
Right.
it talks about in the neighborhood to bring the buildings close to the street, to bring the
Okay,
sidewalk.
sorry, I get that part.
Okay.
It's the size, it's the thought that you can put 20 cars underneath the building in that small
No.
spot. How many parking spots do you have on
We
there?
have, but they're not underneath the buildings, I think it's 5 or 6 of them are underneath the building, the rest are in the back of the property.
Our parking facility on this lot is conforming to the requirements of the code.
I understand that, sir. And, that's part of the reason I want to see the traffic survey. Because you still have to have, still have to get on and off the property at a very already congested intersection.
And I
With an oil change shop right next door.
And I reiterate that the planning board has already determined that there is no negative environmental impact on the number of cars
So we'll see when
on
we-
this lot.
Okay, thank you. So your choice is tonight. You could ask, I don't think we're at, oh no, I take that back.
Excuse me. Can I
Excuse
speak?
me, yes.
Is my
Okay,
client-
I'm William Baker, one of the owners.
Want to come up to the mic and say your name and address?
My
sir?
name is William Baker,
Mhm.
one of the owners. I've owned this property since '87.
Mhm.
At that point in time, it was zoned, I believe, neighborhood business.
Okay.
The zoning was changed by the village. I don't know in what year.
2009, sir.
I didn't get any notice
Mhm.
at the time you were changing the
Then,
use.
do you live in Austin?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay. But I would think as a property owner, I would have been notified.
I can't imagine you weren't, because it was a major comprehensive plan.
Well, I'll have to research that.
Okay,
I dutifully cut the grass on the property. At that point in time, I could have built property line to property line. When they rezoned this property, they rezoned it so I couldn't build anything here,
mhm,
okay? Now, I've owned this property, paid the taxes all these years. I've made 3 applications to the planning board. At one time, they just threw me off the agenda, okay? For reason, because I couldn't come to a meeting, and I was before the zoning board before, okay? I understand you have questions now, but the communication between the planning department and us is non-existent, I have to say. We get emails at the last minute. Now all of a sudden I'm told that you changed in January, and I figured, I've been here on this agenda for 4 years. Why, Lynn, were we not notified? that we
okay,
had to
sir,
do-
we kind of discussed that at the beginning, okay? So that has to be corrected, but we had asked last month that the neighbors be notified that this was coming back up on.
And the attorney mentioned at the time that the notification or the agenda was enough.
Okay. So we have asked.
Your attorney, not my attorney.
So we have asked, again, they're here to give us consultation. They're not here to tell us how we're going to act. Go ahead, sir.
I'm listening.
So I'm going to ask that the residents in the neighborhood be notified. I don't know how you're gonna do that, whether the village is gonna do it or the applicant is gonna do it, but that's something you need to discuss with the planning department. And I would at least like to see a copy of the secret
Finding statement.
finding statement, okay? You can disagree with us, and there's 3 people at this table tonight, and a quorum would be 3. So we're not gonna be voting tonight on this. I think we should go on from there. Do you have any other questions?
I don't, I think, in view of the fact we just have the 3, I think it probably would be better anyway to come back.
I would,
when we-
if I was them.
when we
Well-
have full board.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, for your questions. I just want to know if any of the other members that
Sure.
are here have any other questions about this
questions?
application?
I did. No, I fully understand the problem and what you're talking about.
Thank you. I believe that your quorum of 3 would be enough if we asked for a vote tonight for you to be able to vote. We have a quorum. However, I'd like to take just a moment to ask my clients if they want to call for a vote or if they'd rather adjourn and work with the planning board to satisfy your concerns.
Can I answer that for you?
Sure.
We have a quorum, but if we had a vote, I will not vote because I think we need the whole board here.
Okay.
And I don't think it would be fair to you or us, and that's my opinion.
And anything less than 3, and Joe, anything less than 3 in favor
I
would
understand.
be a defeat.
I understand.
It's
No, no,
not-
no.
it's
I think Mr. Bailing's point is well taken.
I just wanted to make my clients aware
Okay.
and ask their view on whether they'd like to call for a vote tonight or not.
Fair enough.
So, we're going to adjourn. So, we'll request that adjournment. I am going to ask, right here, right now on the record, that Ms. Adams, please advise me as soon as practicable, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock if you can, what you need to notify. I need a list. If I have to research the list, the addresses, the names, whatever it is, green cards for certified mails, I'll do whatever you need. You just have to let me know what it is, and I will do it. As far as the EAF is concerned and the planning board's findings, Ms. Abney wrote up those findings,
We'll
and they
take care of
adopted
that.
it, they need, you know,
I'm not saying
I'm
that-
asking the planning department to provide whatever information you need that they have to you, that's perfectly
Mhm.
fine.
Okay, and we did not even get the, and again, understand there's also dates, cutoff dates for getting stuff to the zoning board. So if you sent an email with other documents on it 2 or 3 days ago, that's also,
I was of the understanding that you had, but that's okay, you're
Okay.
right, you're right about that. If
Okay.
if my professionals did not get you something early enough, then that's the way that was.
okay, thank you, sir.
That's fine. So we will do that,
Okay,
and we'll adjourn to the April meeting. What date is the April meeting?
April, I'm sorry, hearing date is April 12th.
April 10th.
Ten?
April 10th? Oh, I'm looking at the 2017.
yeah, okay.
Never mind.
April 10th.
April
It's on the
10th.
bottom of it, did you get?
You know what, my client just handed me, and I had an email of
Okay.
this, so that's
It's on
fine.
the agenda.
So we'll see you April 10th, and we'll provide you
you.
what you need.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Okay, I understand that ZBA 2717, which is 182 Spring Street, is not here.
Right, as far as I know, they're not, we didn't receive anything from them.
So this goes off the agenda?
If this board wants, it can come off the agenda. It's been carried for a
It's
number of
been carried
months,
too long.
and we've been asked, we've
Take-
asked for
My
information.
vote is to take it off the
You asked for
agenda.
Okay.
additional financial information, so you want to remove?
It's off the agenda.
Okay,
So.
ZBA,
Madam Chair,
yes ma'am.
I wanted to give you a brief.
You need
heads up.
to talk louder.
I wanted to give you a brief overview of this case as well, similar to what I
Oh,
did for Baker.
here.
if you'd
We'll
like
take the
to.
microphone then.
Yeah.
I can have it, yeah.
I can talk loud. So it's ZBA 0118 Hudson Point LLC, 65 North Malcolm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just to give you a brief overview, I'm sure you've all read your materials, but as you know, this is a single-family property, it's a single-family home in a two-family district, so they want to convert from a single to a two, and they need to get a conditional use from the planning board. However, they need to get some variances before they get that conditional use, so that's why they're appearing before you tonight. They're requesting only 2 variances. They have proposed to provide the necessary parking for 2 dwelling units on site, which would be 4 parking spaces. To do that, they need to increase the impervious surface coverage. The T-zone requires that the max is 40%. They're asking for a 5% variance for 45.7% impervious surface coverage to add the parking. And then the second variance that they're requesting is for a variance of the livable square footage for both of the dwelling units. They're currently proposing 2 two-bedroom dwelling units in the building, and they're looking for variances. If you looked at the plans and you looked at the pictures that they submitted, their first floor, they're proposing to put back an exterior porch and take that enclosed space and make it exterior, so they're losing about 200 square feet for that. And then this is a smaller property in the neighborhood, and they're trying to maintain the existing footprint of the house and build out the second floor to build that second dwelling unit. And then I'll let the applicant take it from there.
Just before we start,
Yes,
sir, are you here for a particular item tonight?
No, it's expired, normal.
Okay, okay. Just want to make sure.
Step up.
Step up.
Perfect.
Give your name and address, and do you promise to tell the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am. Frank Ippoliti. I currently reside at 9 Iroquois Road in Ossining, and I am the owner of 65 North Malcolm Road. Okay, so as Lynn has explained, the impervious surface area that we're requesting and the square footage. So, this house is definitely in neglect, and it's been in neglect for quite a while.
Did you just purchase it?
We purchased it in, I believe it was August or September, end of August, beginning of
It still
September.
has a for sale sign outside.
Well,
Go ahead.
somebody
We were a
keeps,
little surprised, but go
listen,
ahead.
somebody keeps putting up a sign out there, and
Oh.
it's from
Very
the, I guess the online auction people, and it was previously Deutsche Bank, they had foreclosed on the property.
Oh, okay, so it's a short sale.
It was a foreclosure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so basically our thought and intentions, and it's a little bit of a pickle because we're coming to you, basically we've given this a lot of thought. And we've come to the conclusion that we'd want to stay with what's in the neighborhood, right, architecturally. We don't want to change exactly what's out there. Right, so if I may, I don't know if you guys would be able to see this, but
Well, if you bring it closer, we can.
absolutely. Can I leave it with you guys?
Sure.
No, we
Oh, yeah,
can
we
just
don't
look
need
at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I put
You
it
can leave it
here.
here right in a second, yeah.
Perfect?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you've noticed, I've taken, starting at 51 and finishing, so I am.
You need to go back to the mic.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
So I started off on the beginning of the block.
Right.
I,
We've been there.
Matilda, right?
We've been there, we'll
Okay.
tell you, yeah.
So, the picture starting from the top right zigzag, go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
And so this side is if you're going towards Highland Avenue, would be all the houses on your left-hand side,
Mhm.
and this side is all the houses on the left-hand side.
Right.
So, as you
We
can
get
see.
what you're trying to do.
Perfect.
Okay.
So what we had planned was, when we noticed the neighborhood, we noticed that the majority of the houses here have open front porches.
Right.
Ours is enclosed. Now, this has been an enclosed porch since the 50s. This isn't something that was just done recently, right? So myself and my architect, we were trying to figure out, well, we were gonna live there and we wanted to be in, we'd like to keep to what we have there already. 90% of the houses there have open front porches on both sides. 4 have enclosed.
Very partial to front porches, so keep going.
I mean, it's nice, right? On a hot summer night, you can sit outside.
Oh, no, we're all with you.
Okay, so our problem becomes the square footage for the livable, habitable space. So if we eliminate the front porch and open it up, we're down to 597 square feet, which we all know that minimum square footage is 800.
Right.
Now, that being said, and I just wanted to point out from the zoning map, all the highlighted areas on my zoning map all require minimum square footage is 450 square feet. Our minimum square footage for a two-bedroom unit is 750 square feet. So, the reason why we're at 500 square feet is that we're losing, I'm sorry?
Yeah, because of the room.
Right.
Right, well, we're taking out the stairs,
Yeah.
essentially, and putting them back into the laundry room in the back left-hand corner of the house. So you would have entrance from the backyard into your second floor, and then you could have an entrance from the rear of the house for the first floor and a front entrance to the first floor apartment. So, with the 597 square feet, I know it's a lot, but it would keep to the characteristics of the neighborhood. And that's where I'm coming to you guys is, do you prefer the characteristics of an open porch, or do you want to keep it enclosed?
Well, we're not the planning board,
Understood.
and we are not the Board of Architectural Review.
Understood.
So what we're concerned on is this page, okay? So I think, my personal opinion, if I lived on that block,
Mhm.
one, I wanna thank you for taking away a zombie house.
Perfect.
That's number one. Number two, why don't you explain to us the variances that you need for that particular property, saying that you're going to have an open porch?
So if we did the open porch, we would need a variance of 203 square feet.
203.2,
And then the second floor would be 53 square,
57.7.
57.7 square feet.
So it would be 200, and what is it, 200 and what?
203.2
203.2?
and 57.7.
So really what you're doing is you're taking the second floor of this house and making it more than a, whatever it is up there, one bedroom or whatever.
Oh, well, the house itself right now,
Yeah.
floor to ceiling is only 4 feet high. There's
So-
nothing you can do with the
Right.
second floor as
So,
is.
so a T-zone, a T-zone, Lynn,
Yeah.
a T-zone is allowed to have two-family houses, okay? It's a single-family house right now, right? It's probably the only one on that block, as far as we could see, right, when we went down there.
Okay?
I mean, it goes house, 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 houses,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so, so I think what we have to figure out is, oh yeah, right here. Are you allowed to, have variances like that? Which is, don't take anything else that happens here. Your case is all by sitting, all by itself. It's about getting a house back in a neighborhood that needs housing.
Absolutely.
So don't take anything of any other meetings we've had here.
Okay,
to
not a
take
problem.
into consideration. So, all right, so I wanna go over a couple of these variances with you. You have an existing non-conforming, are these all, do you see that, Joe, at the top, the existing non-conforming? Are these all, he already has the variances for these?
No, these are all the existing conditions of the house.
Okay.
As it is.
Okay. So one of the things that we strongly suggest you do is when you do come for the variances, you come for everything so that when you leave here, you have, right? Am I right on that? You have I just want to make sure I'm speaking, so you have a clean house when you're done. You know, we have a lot of houses after the reassessment that needed to have a lot of different variances, and we tell people to come in for them all. But right now, you want to make it, you want to take off, you want to make the second floor another apartment.
Yes.
You want to take the first floor, make the, correct me if I'm wrong, you want to make the front porch an open porch,
Yes,
which
ma'am.
does not make it living. So you're going to go out in the back?
What do you mean out in the back?
Where are you going to put the extra 200, where are you going to put the rest of the house for the first floor?
Well, that's what we're asking for variance.
Okay,
The 200 square feet
Right.
that we're losing from,
the front porch.
well, the front porch and,
I don't know if we're technically losing it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Jim Bacinas, DBP Architecture. Currently, that enclosed front porch, one of the previous owners in the past kind of butchered it and tried to make it habitable space. So what we're trying to do by losing it is kind of returning it back to what it originally
Right,
was.
Right,
And we're feeling, when we're trying to balance the benefits to the applicant versus, any detriment to the community, we're actually thinking we're benefiting the community by returning it back to its original state, even though we're losing the square footage. We're not just trying to jam in as much
Right.
interior space as we possibly can. And thanks for taking this, and we know that this is kind of an odd circumstance, but this is the only vehicle to even be able to come and ask the question and get the temperament of the board on the matter. So basically.
well, you want to come because you want to increase your impervious coverage, you want
Yes.
to make a parking spot,
Yes.
and is the house getting any closer to the side yards? or is
No,
it-
we're not changing the footprint of the house at all.
Oh,
Exactly.
So
the
then-
same-
and to your point of the parking, compared to other houses, and if you look at my Google Maps picture there, we would basically be one of the few houses with actual green space in the back of our parking.
Well, I see you have a lot of green in the front of your building right now with the bushes, right? Did you see this?
I saw it right on the screen.
And Madam Chair, the reason why I left it like that is because,
You're not doing anything to it yet.
well, no, not only that, it's just,
Not the grass.
I'm waiting, people have broken into the house.
Well,
It's kind of like a deterrent because, you know, they can't just go in there and all of a sudden somebody comes up there and they're just like, oh, is there anybody in the house? It's kind of like, I mean, I would love to take it down and stop putting garbage in there, but I've got people living in there, parking in the driveway. It's just been a nightmare.
you know, yeah. I wanted to ask this gentleman, are you here to talk about this?
No, just going to see what's going on with 65.
Oh, okay.
That's all. Thanks.
Are you in support of this house getting rehabbed?
Well, I don't have nothing to say about them,
Okay.
but they decision. I live in a Chanwood Street, so that's all.
Okay,
Mhm.
We can show you the plans and answer any questions
So-
after the meeting if it's.
yeah. So, you know, during the height of the bank repossession time, I could stand out in my own front yard and see 5 houses. They were empty, not one of them's empty anymore, but we thank goodness.
Yes,
We thank goodness.
and we've talked about those houses across the street from you.
So, well, okay, so really what you're here tonight is, because we're not the planning board, because that's where you have to go and talk about your space and what you're gonna do to the inside of the house and what have you, and then your Board of Architectural Review, which they will love the porch concept, okay? You're here to get more livable, get a variance on your livable space, and your impervious coverage,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? And then you have all of these other things that you need variances on, and you should do them, I can't say this enough, at the same time. So instead of saying existing non-conforming, you redo this sheet, right? Am I correct on this? I'm turning to my attorney.
I'm sorry.
We should clean this whole thing up, Joe, wouldn't you say?
If that's what we were still doing, that.
Haven't we gone that way in most of the other cases?
If that's procedure in the village, we'd certainly follow
Not
suit.
procedure as much as highly recommended?
Okay.
The thought has
But
been.
this is
that-
the only municipality that I know of where a house with a CO requires, you know, additional variances for existing
Well,
conditions.
if you have a,
It's very simple, the answer is
Oh.
very simple, because you wanna make changes and make it from a 1 to a 2 family.
If
and
it's
therefore-
required, we're on board.
If you're gonna do it right, you know,
Do it right.
don't just fix the muffler.
when
and
you
not
go to
put it
sell
in the
this
spark plugs.
the next time, you already have all the variances that you
Yeah.
need to.
Which.
Just been because you can imagine what we have.
I'm just saying it's not typical in most other
Okay.
municipalities, so.
Well, this is special municipality.
We're very,
I'm part of it.
We
he's
try
only,
and do it right.
so anyway, okay, so really, so you're leaving the first floor at 597 square feet?
We're not changing the footprint of the house in any way. The second floor, I mean, you can kind of tell by looking at that dormer.
Yeah,
The second floor has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom on the second floor. Nothing on that second floor complies with the building code ceiling height. The floor
right,
is a
I
trampoline.
can't even imagine,
So we're looking to basically renovate the whole second floor,
okay.
but we're matching the existing, we're keeping the exterior walls where they are, so
Okay.
we're not increasing the footprint of the home in any way.
Okay.
So I have one question.
Sure.
So is the numbers here of what you're proposing on the first floor, where it says 597.8, is that with an open porch or an enclosed porch?
With an open porch, and we do have an alternate plan, if you're looking to have us pursue it, but we would like to keep it as presented,
As an open porch?
yes.
I have an open porch.
Currently, if you see the construction of the front porch, it is absolutely not constructed as habitable space. It is constructed like a deck, it's constructed like a porch, and we're looking to basically change it back to its
Right,
original construction.
okay.
I only asked that question because when we were going over it, it was
Yeah, that
proposed
was-
both ways. I don't know
Well,
which one.
we
Completely
do,
understand.
you're right, and we do have a proposal with that, and it wouldn't be such a,
But let's not go there.
yeah.
Well, this is
we-
the application that's before.
Leave
you.
the chickens in the
Yes,
coop.
let's.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going.
So we're not trying to make your life any more difficult than it is. So should your two variances that you're here to, we'll discuss it in a bit, which will be like in 5 minutes, get approved and everything, that's fine. But what we would also just ask you to do, just for your own sanity later, when you try to sell this house in the far, far, far future, that you have all your, you get all your variances.
Okay.
Is there a problem, Joe, that you're?
No, I have all his numbers for him if you want.
Oh. So you're staying in the footprint, so you're just making a couple of extra parking spots so you can have the 4 cars in the
With
back?
with green space,
In the back,
yes, ma'am.
with green space in the back. Well, you'll have a little green space in the front, too.
I'll make sure it looks.
When you
You
have
can't
the-
see it now.
When you can't see it because the bush is there, right? Here's the best picture.
Yeah.
Okay. And does your property line, is your driveway, on the property line?
Yes.
That cool, Joe?
Well, if it's on the property line, then it needs a variance because it's 4 feet.
It's supposed to
is
be
the
4
setback.
feet.
So that would be another one.
That's another variance, yeah.
Side setback.
Well, that's the way the survey shows.
Well,
And you have a survey, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool.
So just add that on there.
So if you do that, and we agree that your other variances are fine, you don't even necessarily have to return.
okay.
As long as you get to them in a timely manner, you review it with the planning department, and all the numbers are correct. But
Perfect.
since you have your numbers down to the point, so I'm not worried about that. You know, it's when people go, well, it's 3 or 10 feet, you know.
Well, we were debating with Lynn as to whether to go to planning board first or come here first, and at the end of the day, we thought that
Get this
it
done.
really didn't make any sense unless the variance requests made sense.
Well, if it was another kind of property, it might make sense to go to the plan. I don't want people
Right.
to think it's,
No, it
you
was
should come
just
to the
this,
zoning board first,
yes,
because it all depends on what the
Circumstances.
circumstances
Exactly.
are. This is an existing home, you're not changing the square footage of the outside of the house. Okay.
And may I say, Joe and Lynn on this whole process, stellar. I mean, without their input and her telling me to put the pictures together, I mean, she really did help out. And we spent, I don't know what, that one day, she left the office at 6:30, and it was really appreciated,
Okay, great. Good to hear.
yes.
So, okay, so that sounds good, and I think that will be a big plus. I think that it's not up there anymore, but the
Which one
plans,
was yours?
the one that just shows you the side views of the house, yeah, the
The
actual,
side view of the house,
Yeah.
the other side view, or the one?
the new one, what it was gonna look like.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. This, so that, you know,
I honestly think it would be one of the nicest houses on the block. There's quite a few, I believe, the one that was just redone, the gray one, and the one right down the street, it will have a lot of character. And I think it fits. It fits. I
well, it
don't-
fits.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's,
Because we had our prints with us when we went over there, and it just fit in the neighborhood, and the porch did too, because other houses have porches over there.
yeah, and that was, believe me, it was contemplated for a long time. And we had to stay with that porch. I mean, it needs a porch.
Well, you know, I gotta say, 500 and whatever's, you know, I'm gonna do the whatever now, 500 plus square feet is a small house, a small apartment. So, but,
Well, that being said,
is it about 1 bedroom, I hope?
if the plans are on
Right,
are
okay,
presented
there
on
we
the
go.
drawings. They're not bad.
Wow,
no, they're not.
Bedrooms are there.
is the square footage of 500 the least that they can have, what they have there?
450 would be.
450 is the, is the minimum,
And it's 600 for 1 bedroom and 750 for a 2.
750 for a 2-bedroom?
Well, I thought this is 800.
800, oh yeah.
Well, this
800.
zoning district is a
800,
flat
right,
8, but
800.
the other zoning districts have lesser amounts. According to the building code, if we go by New York State's requirements, it's all compliant, which it only requires a minimum 70 square feet in each bedroom and 120 square feet in the living space. So,
Well, it's important that we stay consistent with
Sure.
other buildings and other properties that we have told people that, you know,
absolutely.
the
I'm
apartments.
just making a point that it's compliant with the building code as well.
Does it have a basement?
It does have a basement, and it will be accessed by the existing bulkhead on the outside.
And it will be a basement.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
unfinished.
Unfinished basement.
Well, technically, I mean, if he's using up all the space, the only way they'd be able to be compliant is to actually put an addition on it, which would make it more
Or very,
variances
not.
required
Right,
anyway,
right.
so
Okay,
it's one or the other.
but I just want to stay consistent with other places that we've told. Okay. All right, and sir, you don't want to speak on this property?
No, fine. Sometimes
You listening?
take decision.
At least we know he got my certified mail.
At least he knows you got a certified mail. See? Yes. All right, well, thank you very much.
I'll take
You
this.
can take your.
Thank you very much.
Unless you want me to leave it.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
Thank you.
One day we'll be paperless and then we'll all,
You'll be
Won't
on
know
the
what to
screen.
do.
Yeah, you'll have a projector in your hand, go like this.
Yeah. You can do it from my iPhone, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah. Okay, that, do I have a motion to close our public hearing for this evening?
Motion to close. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So, I don't think we need to discuss Croton Avenue any more than we've already discussed it, unless you guys have any other questions on that for tonight. Those are what, so you'll get in touch with the attorneys, you'll decide what's going on with that. I would like a copy of the findings report.
We'll get you what you're supposed to ask for.
Okay.
We should all get it.
Yeah, well, it's always all, but I don't
The
wanna.
you is a royal, it is not a
Yeah.
individual.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to take off 182 Spring Street off the agenda. So
I
that,
remember when that was
well, it still looks like one.
Yeah, no, I know, it just, you know, all you did is shut the door.
I know. I think there was a fire or something in there, so one of the dryers went on fire or something. So, okay, so that one is, you have not heard back from them, right, in a while?
no,
Okay.
our last communication with them was on February 20th or 21st, I believe.
Well, it's only a month. So if they have stuff, but everybody has to look at the webpage and come in with their paperwork in a timely manner.
This board had requested that they submit financial information to show, and so.
Right.
They had brought a version of financial information that didn't have a complete financial picture. So we asked them to come back with supplemental information that would satisfy your.
All right, well,
request.
let's see if they come back, since it was February, and it's only March now,
So
right?
do you want them to
Oh,
be
thank
left on the
God.
agenda, or you want them to be removed?
Leave them on for one more, let's leave them on for one more month and see if they come back, since they did communicate with them in February.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair then.
Yeah,
Okay, so
okay?
If they don't
So-
come back, then
we'll let them know that they need to
Right.
attend the next meeting.
we'll let them do a flash dance at home.
And 65 ZBA 0118, which is 65 North Malcolm, which you are looking for officially the two variances. One is for the livable space and for the impervious space. Does anybody have any questions with that?
No,
George?
no.
You want to vote on it?
No.
Vote? No, okay. So we're gonna wait till you come back with the sheet, with it all done? Okay,
Exactly.
and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I would like to have a motion to accept the minutes from our last meeting. Thank you. Stuart has a job.
There were no resolutions at the last meeting.
Right.
So
That makes it easy.
Does make it easy. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting?
Motion to accept the minutes from the February meeting?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And so that concludes our zoning board of appeals meeting for the month of March 2018. We'll see you in April. Thank you.